May 28th through June 4th, 2017. Dominica's Jazz and Creole, a smooth island vibe.
The National Cooperative Credit Union Limited is offering cash secured loans at a very special 5.99% interest rate. Members can use savings and deposits to quickly obtain loans for any purpose. Just walk into any of NCCU's 6 branches today and apply. Set your own repayment terms and get your same day loan. Promotion ends May 31, 2017.
Terms and conditions apply.
It's we versus them as Bright Opens presents a Cube Mobile Cup. Third test match, West Indies versus Pakistan. Windsor Bank Stadium, May 10th to 14th. Dominica! Partners include Digicel, Scotiabank, JetBlue Airways, Blue Waters, Joma, Dominica Cricket Association. Stands $14, East End $30, grounds $25. West Indies versus Pakistan, May 10th to 14th for Dominica.
Socarum, 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 Socarum. Everybody know the best quality rum with flavor is Socarum, Socarum. You know what I mean, Socarum, got the vibration you need. Socarum, Socarum. When we having fun under the rain or the burning sun. Socarum, Socarum. And the bang way, and the bang way. Socarum, Socarum.
Enjoy it, but don't abuse it. Brought to you by Belfast Estate Limited.
It's now a tradition, the annual Mania 7-Eleven Plus Super Center Big Edge and Digicel Mother's Day Party at the Anchorage Hotel on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th from 6 p.m. to midnight. Featuring swinging stars, Mr. Mix, Matt in the Morning, DJ Soursop, Calypsonians, and Prince Maddox.
Do you have a dear mother?
Lots of prizes, complimentary free glass of wine and Tony's Punch on entrance.
Mama, don't cry no more.
Entrance $20 and tickets are available from Bullseye Pharmacy, Smallex Mobile, Skitter in the Market, Bronx Maveste, Mimi, and more.
In this place, certain men should hide their face. The way they treat their mothers at this place.
All the partners in good courts at Milan's Bar and Grill, Eastside Trading, Tony's Punch, Lex President Zil, Anchorage Hotel, Caribbean, Eve's Deco, TVS Radio, QFM, and more. Take your mom, your mommy, your mother, your stepmother, adopted mother, godmother, grandmother, nenen to the Mother's Day party, Mother's Day, Anchorage Hotel, Machesa.
Make sure your mommy okay.
Advertise where everyone's listening. Advertise on Q95 today. Get more bang for your buck. Talk shows, news, sports, music shows, entertainment events, weekend shows, Newsweek reviews, early morning shows, evening and daytime shows, hot tips on health, nutrition, security, traffic, weather, environment, and more. Place your display banners on the Q95 website, www.q95da.com, with live links to your own website. Advertise on Q95, your one-stop shop for audio and video streaming, breaking news, sports, and entertainment. Advertise on Q95. Get value for your money. Call 767-448-5822 today. The Big Station.
Madame report exactly what she made in the pharmacy where Harry did with bossing class if you support and learning. It is how cafe Episa and not well my last 2 weeks. Episa. Harry upon yes is true. Pisa money on Tipotla. Don't get him up to make a urine and see more 3 times a day. Madame Lieli do urine Harry mew no medicine pussy are you. And where's the prescription? It is me a posh mommy. What's the sense of buying that lemon coffee tout temps? No, you see the importance of going to your pharmacist, listening to your pharmacist, and having confidence in your pharmacist. FPS.Plus will place a higher premium on patient-pharmacist relationship than Quick Care Pharmacy Cote Halsbrook just before the National Bank. Cote Quick Care is not just a quick fix. It's not just about tablets and spoonfuls. They brought back the care into medicine. Whether it's a prescription or over-the-counter medication, the priority is your health. To take the right medication, the right amount for the right reason. Madam Harry, I see right in your medical book, Next of King, Henrietta Harry, movie farmer. By the way, is Next of King, King, the Harry Ukakemo movie. All I want for you is good care. That is why I always recommend Quick Care Pharmacy because they help grow.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, Real Estate Talk. We are on the air, and I really want to thank you for your support over the years. And this morning, I think we're going to have a wonderful shoot for you this morning. I have with me in the studio Mr. Tihani Bihanzin, and we are going to discuss real estate fraud and real estate construction fraud and real estate fraud, but we are going to focus more on construction fraud. When we come back, we'll introduce Mr. Bihanzin. He's no stranger, so when he come back, we'll discuss. Stay tuned. This is Real Estate Talk.
Real Estate Talk with host Marianne Johnson, the real estate lady, the best source for all your real estate needs. Real Estate Talk is aired on the big station Q95 FM every Tuesday morning from 10:15 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Real Estate Talk is talking primarily on all things real estate, commercial and residential. We talk about the real estate market. We talk about the market conditions for buying and selling. We talk about choosing a professional real estate agent. We talk about financing your purchase and finding the right property. We engage the experts with specific roles in the process of buying and selling real estate. Real Estate Talk every Tuesday on Q95 FM from 10:15 a.m. with host Marianne Johnson.
And welcome back. Without further ado, Mr. Bihanzin, good morning and welcome to Real Estate Talk.
First of all, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to those listening to this program right across this beautiful country.
Oh, yes.
I don't care what's going on. I just think it's a beautiful country, the most beautiful country in the world. And also those listening via the internet right throughout, I guess, the world. We have gotten texts and messages from all over the place. And I must apologize because the last time I was due on the program, I had some court matters.
Right.
They were very important matters because they dealt with
someone's life.
Someone's life, and therefore the court took precedence. I thought I would have finished in time, but I didn't, so I couldn't make it in time. So I apologize for that. But I'm here.
Okay, I'm happy that you're here because I think real estate fraud and construction fraud is a big subject, and I know many persons have heard of or know of stories of construction fraud and real estate fraud, and it's just heartbreaking, the stories that you hear. And some person feels that, where do I turn, where do I go to get some justice? So before we go further, just give us a brief outline as to construction fraud. What is construction fraud? What is real estate fraud?
Okay, these two are huge. I don't know how long your program is.
We just have half an hour, but we will do it.
It is half an hour. We will probably focus on construction fraud.
Right.
Real estate fraud is really about property, essentially. But the issue with property is that there are two ways of really acquiring property. One is through inheritance, which has its own rules through the probate system, through the courts. And when you purchase the property, you purchase it outright, or you purchase it via a loan, and therefore it is something that you based on the method in which you purchase this real estate or property, then you would fall into or be subject to certain rules. All rules are sometimes fraught with difficulties. The biggest problems we have, and I say as a practicing attorney, not just here but throughout some of the Caribbean islands, the biggest theft that we have is really property.
Wow.
And
is it that a big issue among us?
And the reason why it is a huge issue is that if you go to the shop and you steal something, that is just the police will come, arrest you and so on. If you stole millions of dollars worth of property, it goes through the courts. It goes to the civil courts. The police doesn't necessarily get involved in that.
No.
And remember, there's also a reason for that. The law says if you have an issue dealing with property, you need to go through the high court.
Right.
But if it's an issue of theft, and once that theft is acknowledged and identified at the courts, I think the police should then get involved and just as other criminal matter, deal with it that way. I think if we do that, we'll have less fraud in that way.
So real estate fraud is not looked as a crime per se,
No.
or it's just you going to the high court and seeing who, bringing your matter to the court, and who has the better lawyer wins?
Well, no. I think I think most people who suffer or who are victims of real estate fraud or property fraud tend to be the poor.
Wow.
Those who have the resources steal a lot of property in this country. And because of that, you need to find a way to level things. You understand?
I'm just lost for words because you can almost as you say that you can almost remember a story. You can almost remember a case where you thought that was real estate fraud.
Yeah. If you invite me in any program, I'm going to tell you as it is.
No, that's okay.
It
I
will
want
be
you
harsh
to.
and hard, but that's the way I talk.
No, but no, it's
that's
not
the way I
about
communicate.
It's not about how you talk. It's about the reality of the truth.
I tell you this, and we only receive what we allowed ourselves to receive. Let's just put it that way. The situation is the way it is because we have allowed it to be that way. Those who are in the know do not really wish to educate people so that they can protect their rights, which is a problem. As people are aging, as I've done a lot of things with the seniors in this country,
right?
As people are aging, they are particularly at risk from losing their hard-earned assets.
Yes.
Especially a lot of our people send people out to study and so on, and they don't come back. So their parents or those who have sent them out with those massive resources, they don't come back to take care of them as they age, as they become less and less able to function mentally, physically in some cases. They are victims.
Yes.
They tend to be victims. So because of that, you have this huge issue. Now, if you are purchasing a property and you use your money to purchase that property, the difficulty that you then have is that, and remember, you're separating the issue of a property. There's a piece of land. We speak in proper English. It was plain English. A piece of land or a house.
So then, when we say property, it means that there's a structure on it.
Well,
real
estate tend to mean property.
Right.
In other words, a house and some land. That's
That's real estate.
But in most cases, you have just land.
Right.
So if you purchase a piece of land, for example, and you wish to then build a house on it, and you have the resources, you can build a house. You produce your plans. Your plans are then approved by planning. Planning then issues your certificate, signed, and so on, and then you begin to, because you have the resources. If you don't, then you still go through the issue of planning, but the banks get involved. When the banks get involved, there's an added layer of protection and security in that you are able to do two things. The bank have systems in place that they will release the monies in certain stages. In stages. Each stage will be certified by someone from the bank. Now, just because they're the banks, it doesn't necessarily mean the bank is any better. In most cases, most of the banks are themselves exposed by the individuals that they use to actually certify each stage. Yes, each stage. They have somebody in the office that they may have had some experience, yes, but not an architect or a quantity surveyor who they should use, and hopefully an independent person that gives the bank a certain degree of indemnity and protection. Where we have issue with property in terms of stealing property is where there are inheritance. Somebody may leave you a property via a will.
Right.
And sometimes most will, as I've advised most people, do not do no will.
Why?
If you have property to transfer to whoever it is your children are, try to be as fair and equal and just as possible. Transfer it before you die. Now, you can ensure that none of the property leaves you if you're afraid that they may not, after you've transferred the property, that you will not be in a position or they might leave you destitute or anything. So there are systems you can put in place to ensure that protect that. If you produce a will and that will is then subject to a fraudulent will, all they have to do, remember, every will cancels the previous one. That's the first paragraph of the will apart from the heading. So it's not uncommon to see some wills signed by professionals in the hospital. You're on your deathbed. You're not thinking property. You're thinking, I'm going to die or my life and those sorts of things. And you will see a lot of people who otherwise, while the individual was alive, was nowhere close, did not take care of the person, but they end up with property. Right? So I advise people, do not do no will. If you can avoid it, transfer.
But what
before.
if that person has a will, because some persons are advising to do a will? What if that person is in their right mind before they went down the hill, and it is registered?
Well, the issue is this, that even if it's registered, the last will cancels the previous will. So if everyone...
so that's what you're saying. So if I have a will that is registered at the registry, and I and come back and just write a note, sign that proceeds...
Yes, the will at the registry doesn't stop you from changing your mind. It doesn't stop somebody from stealing your property.
Oui, Papa. So that is where we having a lot of issues, are you saying?
Yes, but it's not just that. The whole issue of land have yet to be modernized in a sense here. We almost everything we do is old law.
Old fashioned, yeah. Old
historic
law. Yes.
law. Land law is the oldest. Why? When the conquerors came, the first thing they had to do was control the criminal law and the property law. That didn't interest in anything else. Those are the two things. So the land are quite for example, if somebody sits on your property
for too long,
for 12 years, that person could claim access possession. In the UK, that rule has changed. So you need to give the owner a notice so that owner then can actually respond. You understand me? We haven't changed that here. So what we have here is the old adverse possession rules.
Wow.
Doesn't mean they have a right to give you access to that land that you may have acquired through your adverse possession. That means your occupation of the land is adverse, unaware to the owner. However, even within that, there's a lot of people who come and they might stay for a year or 2 or 3, 4, 5 years and then still try to claim adverse possession by filing false documents into court. Those things take place.
I mean, I think we're just really scratching the surface of this thing.
That's why.
And I think we have not even touched. You've been speaking and you have not even said anything about construction fraud.
That's why I think we should focus our energy to
then
I could come back.
We will come back. I really need you to deal, because it seems that we have a Pandora box of issue when it comes to that needs to be.
I am not. I don't claim to be the expert.
Yeah, but you will help us understand it.
In probate. I think if I had to choose an expert in Dominic on probate, I would call Darius Jones.
Okay.
That's an expert on probate for sure.
Okay.
The one that I can say is the expert on probate. So he might be even better than I in terms of explaining this probate issue, although I could do a number of it. In terms of construction fraud, we have no lawyer who's an expert on construction
fraud. Let's take a little break.
Not construction fraud, but construction. And the legal issues surrounding it. Now, also,
let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break, okay? And we'll come back.
Shop at E.H. Johnson Company for special gifts for Mother's Day. There are great deals on products available at their home and garden center, such as hot plates, dinnerware sets, comforter sets, entertainment stand and shelves, and the George Foreman grill. Up to 20% discount offered on some items. Also, their Handy Mom promotion draw takes place on May 12th. Come shop at E.H. Johnson Company and choose something special for Mom this year. E.H. Johnson Company wishes Happy Mother's Day to all mothers.
Real Estate Talk with host Marianne Johnfin, the Real Estate Lady, the best source for all your real estate needs. Real Estate Talk is aired on the big station, Q95 FM, every Tuesday morning from 10:15 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Real Estate Talk is talking primarily on all things real estate, commercial and residential. We talk about the real estate market. We talk about the market conditions for buying and selling. We talk about choosing a professional real estate agent. We talk about financing your purchase and finding the right property. We engage the experts with specific roles in the process of buying and selling real estate. Real Estate Talk every Tuesday on Q95 FM from 10:15 a.m. with host Marianne Johnfin.
Okay, there's a lot that needs to be addressed and look into in real estate fraud, and even talking about just the will alone is an issue that needs to be addressed because too many things are happening.
Yes. No. My advice about the will thing, I mean, it might be different from most, but if there's a will, but If there is a will, then the will would identify an executor.
Right.
Or two. Could be one or two in the alternate, this person or whatever it is. Now there is a succession rules if the executor dies, for example. That's another completely confusing area here. But if there is no will at all, an individual can still gain what is called letter of administration to administer the estate. Now, it doesn't necessarily preclude the executor from being fraudulent or the administrator from being fraudulent, but they all have a fiduciary duty to carry out the intentions of the documents that they have before them. In other words, all of the assets and so on. The issue with the will is clear as to who
gets what.
Plain English. The letter of administration identifies all of the assets, and then that administrator is responsible for distributing it equally, unless, of course, there is some indication by the person who held the assets, the deceased, of any preference shown to any particular person, and then you can't. Because sometimes people prepare wills, and then in the middle of preparing the wills, they die. A lot of people come to the office and they go, I want to do a will. They come and they give you half the information, you start writing it, and they might not make it before they give you the rest. Some people die. So therefore, you may have some instructions, but not a will. So then the administrator would have to speak to those who are beneficiaries to come up with some resolution. Now, a lot of the property here are tied up in issues sometimes that go on for years, and because of that, there's always an effect, because you might be waiting for assets from a benefit as a beneficiary from a will who had an executor, and it might take 10, 15, 20 years, and you still don't get the assets. You die. Your children die, their children, some of them die, and you have not still received your assets. So those are very complicated matters that go before the civil court. So you need to be very careful. That's why I say, avoid all that nonsense. And if you want to give somebody something, give
do
it
it
to
right
them.
away.
Yes.
Do it right away.
That's the way I would deal with it.
You know, I had to stop someone from selling my grandfather's property.
Yes.
And they are the mother is the legal rep or the representative.
Yes. Well, in terms of stopping the movement of property, you can do it via something called a caveat.
A caveat,
which is a very simple thing as a page.
And so for me, I thought it was, so how could you be a representative of that asset and then decide to sell it?
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. As
no,
I
we
said,
did not talk about construction fraud.
Yes,
and this is another issue, so that it seems to be really an issue. I've sit down at a lady home and I just cried.
Yes.
When I hear this story, I just cry.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people who come to see me tend to be the underdog. Those who want somebody to fight for them in terms of those, you feel completely bewildered that somebody, especially a person, has resources to get the best lawyers and tie you up and,
frustrating.
So those are the people I tend to see in my office. I don't get the bank jobs. The bank that although I think most of the in-house lawyers working for the banks that only work for the banks are very insular in the sense that they do the same thing and only. So most of them are lightweights. Most of the lawyers in the country are multidisciplinary and they do all sorts of things and they tend to be experts. But there's still no construction specialist lawyer in Dominica. There's
no construction, no real estate lawyer. No. Everybody's doing everything.
Yeah, but also is the manner in which the industry exists. Most of the people who are building houses have absolutely no qualification on paper to certify that they are proficient in anything that they're doing. Although they may have a lot of experience, and they might be very, very good and well versed, but they have no certification. Because of that, you then have a problem with indemnifying you against the faults or default of that individual who you may have,
engaged.
So in terms of construction, I think you should look at it in two ways. Major multi-million-dollar constructions and the building of a little modest home.
But it's
totally separate thing.
Most times, what I come across, especially those in the diaspora, who sends their money home and trusts somebody to build that construction for the building for them. And
That's madness. That's complete madness.
Why is it madness?
Because the ones I have seen, which has to go to court and those sorts of things, somebody gets a call from a relative. Oh, I know Jerry, he builds so-and-so's house. He can probably build your house. Then they get a plan. Then the person agrees. They agree a price of this Jerry person. They send Jerry the money. Now, I have heard of one case where this Jerry, who is a generic person,
Right.
if there's a Jerry building, I apologize, I'm not referring to you, Mr. Jerry, but Jerry generically
Right.
receives the money and does what he wants with the money. The person comes down to see the house that Jerry built.
Because Jerry sent pictures for,
Oh
for
yes,
you.
Jerry sent picture of another house.
Oh, you know that
And
story
when the
too.
person comes down, Jerry says, but the house is over there. We can't go now because environmental health says we cannot enter the building now.
In Dominica.
Oh yes. So Jerry now has his client who's come over for a week or 2 weeks. And Jerry knows that he has a week to play. He will
Right.
disappear for 7 days. He'll be sick for a few days. Jerry has then 3 days left before the person has to leave. Nice. Then Jerry, in the end, brings, but no, that's the house over there. We cannot pass there because the road is this, all kinds of excuses. But that person never enters the house.
No
But
way.
for some reason, Jerry, who's a very well-versed individual, convinces the person to send more money to do maybe the finishing or the whatever it is that Jerry wants more money for.
So the person is, I mean, in your own common sense, you spent thousands of dollars to Jerry, gave him so much of money, and he's giving you all this kakameme story. And
Coco macaque, they call it.
well, yes, or you can call it more stuff too. And you are still in your right sense of mind, sending more money to Jerry after he's already give you all of these.
I'm going to go on the limb and say there's probably hundreds of those cases.
I don't think hundreds, I'm telling you, I sat in someone's story. So I've heard so many stories. I just cry because I cannot understand persons do this to people.
Don't cry. Organize. Let me tell you what I think should happen. First of all, do not send any money to anybody that you do not know to build
And even
anything
if you know,
for you.
even if you know that person.
And the first thing is this. Okay, let us leave aside those where you get a mortgage. You have some money and you wish to build a house. You get a plan.
Right.
The plan is sent to planning. Planning agrees and approves the plan. But the plan is of no significance unless you have specifications. Now, without specifications, the plan is of no use. And the specifications take precedence over the plan. Why? Because you can say, I want a door. But
what kind of door?
What kind of door? What material? What finish? What fittings? What level of fittings?
Yes.
What's the cost? What's the grade?
The glass.
Yeah.
What is the
So in other words,
specification of the glass?
Is it glass that's 2 mil, 10 mil, unbreakable?
Impact resistant.
All sorts of things like that. We'll then decide. Now,
So-
and the problem with this is that if you then agree, by all means, get a contract written. Employ a quantity surveyor to check and certify the quantity, a certified person. Secondly, get an architect who will sign off aspects of the work as it becomes available. A quantity surveyor can actually do that. However, they need some specific training and the expertise to be able to certify. For example, you dig the foundation.
Right.
You
So-
come and you measure that
Right.
the foundation is done properly. Then you issue the payment. The architect signs off. The payment is done.
Right.
Then you start tying your steel or
Right.
laying the gravel, whatever it is, before you do your steel. And at each stage, that thing is certified. After that now, then you prepare the formwork, and you then do not, and I'm saying this to you, do not get somebody to get a shovel and a sand on the road and mix cement for you. Nonsense. Buy your cement from a certified company who prepares the
concrete.
cement. Why? When cements come on site,
Right.
you
There's
need
a
to do-
science between about that.
yeah, there's a cone test. You put the cement in a cone, and then you then test the strength of the cement. And you do 7 days and 28 days, I believe it is, test. Some people do 14. In places like Canada and the US, they might ask you to do 14 and even another interim. But cement cures, I think, at 28 days. So when...
But you can also manipulate the cement.
Well,
to-
you can.
to-
You can. What if I buy cement from a company, say Ready Mix, or I'm not, giving
not
it
promoting,
free
okay.
promoting here, or say Stilco, any of the other providers. If they provide me cement, they have to ensure that we do a test on site.
Okay.
That test is then sent to a government lab, and then it's tested at 7 days, and then tested at 28 days. If there's a defect, Ready Mix is supposed to give me, or any other company, a certificate from that government lab saying that, yes, this cement meets the specification for which it had been ordered.
Right.
If not, then you have to demolish the cement, although the cement would have been cured. By the time this certificate arrives.
Right.
Now, the important thing is that you indemnify yourself, because the company who delivered the cement would have been responsible for the
quality
specification of the cement. So at that point, they will have to break it, and they'll have to compensate you for the steel, because the steel would have been bent when you break the wall and so on. The labor, all the associated costs. Now, if you get Henry, for example, I'm not saying Henry who might be building at your house now, but the generic Henry. So all Henrys, I apologize if you have a shovel in your hand right now and you're mixing sand on the road, which you should not do. So that Henry now is mixing. He makes a complete mess.
Right.
The wall stats is not as strong as it should be, or the consistency of the cement is wrong. Why? He has no measurement except put a little bit there, put a little bit of that, and so on and so on. And the next thing you know, wall is not strong enough. You cannot go after Henry.
Right.
Because Henry, one, has no qualifications, he has no certification. Henry did not give you any certificate from the government lab that tests the cement.
Right.
Nice. No, say you pass the cement hurdle now. Then remember, there are 16 stages in the construction process, especially dealing with the issue of specification. The most important thing to do is get a person who is qualified in writing specifications to establish the cost, and call a quantity surveyor to tell you the quantity. If you don't do that,
the quantity and the quality.
Yes. Why? Because the quantity surveyor can tell you, okay, a certain amount of yards of concrete was placed on this particular part of the work, and therefore we could sign it off so that person could get paid.
I don't know. It's just a whole lot. I lost my train a little. It's really just a whole lot in doing all of this. So what I wanted to ask now, what I wanted to ask is, you are saying all of these, but where do we go? Right. Which offices do we go? Are there government offices, or are there people, professionals, that I'm ready to build a house, I'm ready to do this? Where do I go that can lead me and help me so that I don't get into the mess of construction fraud?
We have a lot of architects in this country. Enough. Yes. And those people who are sensible and wise, employ them. Now, you might be thinking, and the silly thing is this. Somebody wants to build $1 million house, and they don't want to pay somebody $10,000 or $5,000
to do quality
give them
work.
Quality professional advice, which is indemnified, to build this $1 million house.
Wow.
That's a silliness that we sometimes engage in. But it's normal, because some people may take a loan to buy a house and a car, but they don't want to invest in their education or their health.
Okay.
We do stupid things sometimes. We're fallible humans.
Right.
Now, what you must do and should do, employ professionals to indemnify. Even if, for example, look at some of the constructions we have. We have a complete mess there in the post office, for example.
Okay.
When a government agency contracts a contractor, that contractor's pricing is based on his calculation of what he may need. Did he use a quantity surveyor to arrive at that? Did he use architects? And it could be that you have people that can draw very good buildings for you, specific writers that might be bad, or we don't know, and then you end up in a problem. But the government need to ensure that whoever the contractor is have provided an indemnity certificate that goes on to the full duration of the build. In this case here by the post office, I suspect, and I don't know, I stand corrected
you may be
if I
wrong,
am,
yes,
that the indemnity certificate ran out by the time it was even checked.
Wow.
Now, therefore, whatever is going on that might be subject to change cannot be dealt with the issue of the indemnity, which will cover you. So most people building a house wouldn't think of these issues, but I would advise them to seek or instruct a quantity surveyor and an architect, and
ensure a performance bond also.
Well, yes. Well, that's what the indemnity thing is.
The indemnity, the performance
bond. What I'm trying to avoid is use this big complicated words that the average person will not understand. If it's a build, yes, they are. And let me say to you, there are some architects that have more knowledge about the contract process of construction than lawyers. We have no lawyer experts here about those things. Lawyers generally are very good about contracts. Most of them. Some of them are specialist contract. Some of them are just generalists. But this particular area, it is not one that has been given the attention that ought to be given, given the fact that any developing country need that thing.
We need
in place
that.
very, very simply. None of our artisans or professionals, those people who have the experience, are certified. I've seen a number of construction companies now seeking to do that, which is a very, very good thing. And
because
they
the Builders Association, they seems to be up in the game. And
but they will give the bad name to the industry if they don't really check things like that. And I tell you, the entire thing about building a house is getting it right. And sometimes, even when you have a mortgage and the bank is involved, and the bank would sometimes decide to send someone to check different stages to then release truncheons of money to the project is one thing. But those people themselves are not qualified. They'll come and say, okay, the wall is up, so therefore we can release them.
So they're not seeing it from a technical point of view.
Is the wall bending? Is the wall straight? Is the concrete that is put, those things they don't. And what I say, what will happen now, as I have been instructed, for example, to cross-examine two bank officials in another country, I'm not going to say where because I don't want to say what that is, about that very thing where the bank is involved in giving a mortgage, but there has been a default by the builder and there are serious flaws. Yet the bank has released the money to the contractor to continue the project, and yet that project is in jeopardy because it is not constructed according to the specification and clearly the engineering of it.
Okay.
So I say that the bank cannot go back to
can the client hold the bank responsible?
Of course. If you
I'm going to take, I want to ask a question before I take the, I know we have to take a break, but if I take I'm a client of the bank, have a mortgage at the bank also does the bank has a responsibility to ensure that the quality of the work that is being done before releasing the money, should be part of the contract?
Well, it should be.
Or is it?
The bank, the same way that we make silly decisions about trying to cut our costs, the bank does the same. The bank use people in the bank who may have experience because they keep going to hundreds of these little things, yes. But there are a lot of failures through giving money to build property. A lot of people don't finish.
So it's the bank staff that comes to look at the quality of the
uniform and so on. The name tag and go, okay, I can see the wall is up, but the foundation is finished. Could you release the how much of $1,000 it is? But
so can the client, if the bank sends I'm just asking, if the bank sends their staff to look at a construction project of mine, I am a client of the bank with a mortgage, a huge mortgage from you. Can I, because they're not qualified. Can I say to the bank, and there's a defect in my house?
But you should.
Can I take the bank and say?
You should. In fact, as I told you, I'm being brought into one of these countries just to cross-examine some bank officials. That's all I'm going to be floating there just to do that and get out. And I'm telling you, if the bank is going to certify and then release the money, the bank is actually getting involved in a professional activity where the architect or the quantity surveyor should be the one releasing those
because they are the professional in that matter.
Just because you work in a bank and you have lovely in front of your name on it doesn't necessarily mean that you know what that's what should constitute the engineering of a particular wall or whatever it is that they sent you to go and check.
Oh la la!
It's completely insane.
I think we really just we need another 2-3 hours. I think we'll take a break.
Castaways Development Limited residential lots for sale at only $10 per square feet. Average size 8,000 square feet. All infrastructures available. Most lots with awesome ocean view. Just a minute walk away from the black, silky, sandy beach of Miro, one of Dominica's most beautiful and popular beaches. Castaways Development Limited residential lots available. Contact Marianne Johnfin at 225-2121. Email mjohnfin@gmail.com. Website diamondrealtyde.com. Real Estate Talk with host Marianne Johnfin, the real estate lady, the best source for all your real estate needs. Real Estate Talk is aired on the big station, Q95 FM, every Tuesday morning from 10:15 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Real Estate Talk is talking primarily on all things real estate, commercial and residential. We talk about the real estate market. We talk about the market conditions for buying and selling. We talk about choosing a professional real estate agent. We talk about financing your purchase and finding the right property. We engage the experts with specific roles in the process of buying and selling real estate. Real Estate Talk every Tuesday on Q95 FM from 10:15 a.m. with host Marianne Johnfin.
It's a lot. It's a whole lot, Mr. Behanzin. It is not just about buying and selling real estate.
No.
But I think we can speak to a whole 3-4 hours on just the real estate fraud and what should or shouldn't be done.
Yes.
You know, even in growing up, you know, we feel that many of us in our age, we grew up where mun bank, mun apate, say yoki loi. And you know, you feel like you the poor man. Ou pa connaît rien, so you sa fait sa yole, kon yole, le yole. And I don't think many of us understand. We too have right, even when I go to ask a bank to lend me their money.
Yes, I think that a lot of people should challenge the decisions of the banks where, where a project, for example, is not completed because it was not costed properly. All those different things. If the bank is involved, I would seriously seek some specialist legal advice in terms of dealing with them. Now, there are instances where the bank will do an okay job. I'm not saying that, we're looking at instances where you sit down on a $400,000 mortgage and the house is not done. It's not finished. Roof is not there and all sorts of things.
And the contractor just mess up and then...
A lot of people lose money in foundation. The best place to steal money is foundation. That's the problem. They put... Most buildings are over-engineered, because the people who are building them are not engineers themselves. They look and see, and then they acquire. I can look at your shoes and say, but I can do what that woman is doing. But they don't understand that the shoe is just there's something else. There's other things going on. So yes, people feel almost disempowered in dealing with professionals. That's the first thing they have.
I think a lot of us feel that way.
Yeah. But if you're going to spend $200,000-$300,000, it's probably the biggest expenditure you'll make apart from your car. Then what you should, although some cars cost as much as houses, what you should do is employ a quantity surveyor and an architect and get your cement from a company that mixes the cement and delivers it to you. That protects you in all ways. Every single stage, even if you have your own money,
right,
make sure it is certified.
Right.
And that person who's doing the certification is indemnified. There's a bond on that person. So if they make a mistake, you can come back to them and get your money. Otherwise, you lose your money.
So don't just buy concrete and walk away.
No,
I want 5 yards of concrete.
No, don't buy 4 things of cement. No, the architect who designed your house, who's written the specification for your house, most importantly, will tell the cement company who's and what is the specification of the cement. They will test it at 7 days, take samples when it's delivered, and test it again. And then that person is supposed to deliver to you a specification for every single concrete that's been poured in your house or whatever you're building. The same thing, that bridge there, they have taken their tests. If in 28 days they find whatever, the last piece of concrete, for example, they put in, and there's no proper certifications, that person who built the bridge have a problem. So clearly, we need to ensure that those same processes that work generally within the construction industry should be deployed in a smaller scale matter in your home. Why? It is your biggest investment.
So there seems to be a big need of education from the legal matter, from every aspect, even even in selling, real estate agent. What is it that you need to know about?
A lot of people, for example, sell land that's already been sold. A lot of people try to sell your land and they don't own the land.
Right.
A lot of people give up money and they don't even understand for what. So lots of those things. So you get a professional in between so that you have that professional to hold accountable.
Right. Ask
you know
questions.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
Sometimes lawyers themselves make mistakes.
Right.
Sometimes they do it deliberately, which is a fraudulent thing. Sometimes they do it accidentally.
Right.
But they should do it because sometimes they don't check. For example, if you are purchasing a property from somebody, you need to do the searches to ensure that the person owns the property. They need to explain to you how it is that they own that property before they can sell it to you. And it's all done in writing. You must transfer land in writing. It cannot be, you will have my grandmother who gave it to me. You'll have all those things. But then it's reduced to a written application at the end of the day to get the actual title in your hand.
Wow. Oh my, Mr. Behanzi, we need to sit down and come back, because there is another aspect. There's more aspect, the education aspects of it. We need to get people to understand it is not just putting concrete or buying a piece of land or just you need to follow through with what you're doing and understand.
Yes. And also, whatever part of the country that you put your house have a significance on the specification of the actual building. Some places are very dry, some
Right.
places are clay,
Moist.
some places are muddy, some places have rock, some places have rock with water, some places have rock with other materials or chemicals that may degrade cement. All those things affects the building of a particular property in a particular place. It's a small country, yes.
Yes.
But there are variants, and those variances put certain requirements that an architect or professional may need to consider when putting that property down. And we're subject to earthquakes,
Right.
water, wind,
you're
all
right.
sorts of things that are natural and that could cause effect and damage or affect the integrity of construction that we do, wherever the house is, no matter how small or big it is. So
Okay.
we need to employ the professionals to deal with it. I'm not saying that just because a proverbial Jerry or Henry doesn't have sometimes more knowledge and experience than an actual certified person. But unless Jerry or Henry can indemnify you for the money you're about to spend,
Right.
I say stay away from Jerry or Henry. Let's go to somebody
That can.
who is a qualified, certified quantity surveyor, and architect.
An architect. I guess you give good advice, good advice to all people here. Thank you so much for being with me on Real Estate Talk. It's a journey that will not end just there, and I pray that we can come back soon. Any final words to the listeners, especially to those in the diaspora who think my uncle, my auntie, my cousin, my nenen and Pawe, I can send the money to them and they'll just build for me.
Well, I would advise them not to do that. It's best to go through what the simple things we have suggested and ensure that whatever the project is, somebody is in charge. A project manager will deliver the project. Somebody who is qualified.
Who's not the contractor.
Yeah.
Don't let the contractor be the
You need to
project
you
coordinator.
need to separate these
two.
things. They're distinct, different things, and you have to watch your specifications.
Okay.
You have thousands of door handles, for example, you can put on a door.
Right.
But you have to don't pay for a high quality door handle and get a cheap one. One that's going to last 2-3 years as opposed to one that lasts the life of the building. So
Right.
those things, the specifications, is what determines the outcome of the building, not the drawing. The drawing is just an idea of what the thing looks like, but it's the material, the finish, the quality, the durability, and you have the guarantee and you have the warranty.
The warranty.
Okay, warranty and guarantee, two different things.
There is to be a warranty on any project.
Yes, a person
It
can
should
guarantee their work,
Right.
but a warranty, the material builder of the person who builds the material, whether it's a brick or whatever it is,
Right.
has a warranty.
Has
on
a
it.
warranty.
So there's two separate things: warranty and guarantee.
We will be back.
Pleasant, blessed love to you all.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another program of Real Estate Talk with Marian John Finn. My number is 225-2121. Should you need my service as a real estate agent. Until next time, be blessed.